Before humanity built cities, it imagined a war. Not a war between nations, kings, or armies, but something older and deeper, the war between chaos and order. Every civilization knew this war in some form. The names changed, but the pattern remained. Marduk fought Tiamat. Zeus fought the Titans. Ra fought Apophis. Thor fought Jormungandr. Indra fought Vritra. Gods of light, law, sky, and civilization stood against serpents, giants, dragons, demons, storms, darkness, and the deep waters before creation. To ancient people, the universe was not naturally stable. Order was not guaranteed. The world had to be made, defended, renewed, and protected. Every sunrise was a victory. Every harvest was a temporary peace. Every city wall was resistance against the wild. Every law was a line drawn against violence. Every ritual was an attempt to keep the universe from falling apart. That is why the war between chaos and order appears in so many mythologies. It is not just a story about gods fighting monsters. It is the oldest drama of human existence, the battle between the world we try to build and the forces that threaten to dissolve it. In many myths, chaos came first. Before creation, there was darkness, water, silence, emptiness, or formlessness. There were no boundaries. No sky above, no earth below, no seasons, no names, no laws. Chaos was not always evil. It was older than good and evil. It was raw possibility, infinite, fertile, powerful, and terrifying. But human beings cannot live inside pure chaos. We need patterns. We need sunrise and sunset. We need rivers to stay in their banks. We need seasons to return. We need words to mean something. Order is what allows life to become recognizable. In Babylonian mythology, this drama appears in the battle between Marduk and Tiamat. Tiamat is the primordial sea, the mother of gods and monsters, the vast watery chaos before the world is formed. Marduk defeats her, and from her divided body, he creates heaven and earth. The meaning is clear. The world is born when chaos is given shape. The dragon is not only destroyed, it becomes the material of creation. Order does not come from nothing. It is carved out of chaos. Civilization does not erase the wild. It builds upon it. The world of law, temples, kings, and cities rests on something older, darker, and more powerful. That is why chaos never fully disappears. It remains beneath the world like a buried ocean. In Egyptian mythology, this battle happens every night. Ra, the sun god, travels through the underworld, where Apophis, the great serpent of darkness, waits to devour him. Apophis is not merely a monster. He is the force of uncreation, the enemy of Ma'at, truth, balance, justice, and cosmic order. Every night, Ra must defeat the serpent. Every morning, the sun rises again. To us, sunrise feels predictable. To ancient imagination, sunrise was victory. It meant order had survived one more night. This myth reveals a powerful truth. Order is not achieved once and then left alone. It must be defended again and again. Chaos returns every night. The battle repeats. The universe depends on renewal. The same is true in human life. A home is not clean forever after being cleaned once. A society is not just forever after one law is written. A mind is not peaceful forever after one moment of clarity. Order requires maintenance. Without attention, everything drifts back toward disorder. The Greeks told this story through the war between the Olympians and the Titans. Before Zeus ruled, the Titans represented the older divine generation. Cronus, their ruler, feared being overthrown by his children, so he swallowed them. He tried to stop the future from replacing him. Zeus eventually rises against him. The Titanomachy is not simply a family war. It is a war between ages. The old order is overthrown by a new order. The universe is divided, named, and ruled. Zeus in the sky, Poseidon in the sea, Hades in the underworld. But Greek myth also knows that order can become tyranny. Zeus brings structure, but he is not always just. The gods create law, but they also abuse power. Chaos is dangerous, but order can become cruel when it hardens into domination. This is why the war between chaos and order is not simply good versus evil. Chaos can destroy, but it can also create. Order can protect, but it can also imprison. Too much chaos becomes violence. Too much order becomes tyranny. Life depends on balance. Norse mythology expresses this tension through the conflict between gods and giants. The Aesir defend Asgard, the realm of divine order. The giants represent older, wilder forces: frost, fire, mountains, sea, storms, and primordial nature. They are not always evil, but they threaten the stability of the world. The Norse cosmos is built around fragile boundaries. Yggdrasil holds the worlds together, but it is always under threat. Serpents gnaw at its roots. Wolves wait to swallow the sun. Giants gather for the final battle. At Ragnarok, chaos finally breaks through. Fenrir is freed. Jormungandr rises. The giants march. The gods fight, knowing they may fall. The old order collapses in fire, blood, and sea. But even Ragnarok is not pure ending. After destruction, the earth rises again. A new world begins. This tells us that chaos is not only the enemy of order. Sometimes chaos clears the way when the old order has reached its limit. In Hindu mythology and philosophy, the relationship between chaos and order is cyclical. Creation, preservation, and destruction are cosmic functions. Brahma creates. Vishnu preserves. Shiva destroys. But Shiva's destruction is not meaningless. It makes renewal possible. This is a deeper vision of order. True order does not freeze reality forever. True order includes change. A universe that never dissolves cannot be reborn. A life that never releases the old cannot grow. The battle between chaos and order is not always about defeating chaos forever. Sometimes it is about knowing when to preserve and when to let go. The story of Indra and Vritra shows another form of this struggle. Vritra is a serpent or dragon who blocks the waters, holding back the life-giving rivers. Indra strikes him down and releases the waters to flow again. Here, chaos is not wild movement. It is blockage. The world suffers because life cannot circulate. Order is restored when the waters are freed. This matters because chaos is not always noise or violence. Sometimes chaos is stagnation. A system can decay because nothing moves. A heart can suffer because grief is trapped. A society can rot because power refuses to flow. Order is not stillness. Order is meaningful flow. In Zoroastrian thought, the conflict becomes moral, truth against falsehood. Asha represents truth, rightness, and cosmic order. Druj represents deception, distortion, and chaos. Here, the battle is not only fought in heaven. It is fought in every human choice. Every truthful word strengthens order. Every lie strengthens chaos. This is one of the most powerful forms of the myth. The war enters the human conscience. A person becomes a battlefield. A society becomes a battlefield. Truth itself becomes a sacred act. Many civilizations understood that chaos often begins with the corruption of meaning. When words no longer mean what they should, when truth becomes negotiable, when lies become tools of power, order begins to crack. Before cities fall, language often falls first. That is why myths of order are often connected to naming. To name something is to give it a place in the world. In creation myths, gods speak, divide, measure, and name. Light is separated from darkness. Sky from sea. Land from water. Human from animal. Sacred from profane. Chaos is nameless. Order names. But naming can also become dangerous. When order grows too rigid, it can reject what is not fit. It can call the outsider a monster, the foreigner a demon, the wild a threat, and the unknown a sin. This is the shadow of order. It protects by drawing boundaries, but it can also become cruel through those boundaries. That is why the greatest mythologies do not simply praise order and condemn chaos. A world of pure chaos cannot be lived in, but a world of absolute order cannot breathe. Nature shows the same truth. A forest needs structure, but also decay. Dead trees feed the soil. Fire can destroy, but also renew. Rivers need banks, but they must also flow. The body needs boundaries, but also change. Cells die so the body can live. Life itself is not pure order. It is organized chaos. The ancients understood this through myth. They imagined gods fighting monsters because they felt the universe as fragile. Harvest depended on weather. Cities depended on walls. Law depended on obedience. Family depended on loyalty. The soul depended on balance. But chaos was also the source of new life. The sea before creation, the darkness before birth, the wilderness beyond the city, the night before dawn, the unknown before discovery, the underworld before rebirth. Chaos terrifies us because it destroys form, but it fascinates us because it contains possibility. Every artist knows this. Before a story is written, there is chaos. Before a painting is made, there is blankness. Before a civilization rises, there is uncertainty, conflict, and imagination. Order gives shape to creation, but chaos provides the raw material. This is why human beings fear chaos and crave it at the same time. We build homes, then dream of escape. We create laws, then tell stories about rebels. We organize our lives, then seek wildness in music, festivals, travel, love, dreams, and art. We need order to survive, but we need chaos to feel alive. Mythology gives this inner contradiction a cosmic form. The god and the dragon, the king and the wilderness, the city and the sea, the sun and the serpent, the hero and the monster. These are not only battles outside us. They are battles inside us. Every human being is a small civilization trying to hold back chaos. We create routines, identities, beliefs, relationships, and goals. We try to make life coherent. But beneath that order are fears, desires, memories, griefs, instincts, dreams, and impulses that do not always obey. To mature is not to destroy chaos inside ourselves. That is impossible. To mature is to give it form. To turn grief into wisdom, anger into courage, desire into love, fear into attention, imagination into creation, pain into meaning. This is the true victory of order, not the destruction of chaos, but its transformation. That is why the mythic battle never ends. Every generation must fight it again. Every society must maintain truth, justice, memory, and balance. Every person must build an inner world strong enough to survive storms within and without. When order fails, chaos returns. But when order becomes too rigid, life suffocates. The secret is not total control. The secret is living balance. Perhaps this is what ancient myths were trying to teach. Marduk must defeat Tiamat, but the world is made from her body. Ra must fight Apophis every night, but night always returns. Zeus defeats the Titans, but Olympian order creates its own injustices. Thor fights Jormungandr, but both fall. Shiva destroys, but destruction makes renewal possible. Chaos and order are enemies, but they are also bound together. One gives the world form. The other gives the world depth. One builds the temple. The other reminds us what existed before the temple. One creates law. The other reminds us that life is larger than law. The ancient war between chaos and order exists in every civilization because it exists in reality itself. It exists in nature, society, history, and the human soul. It is the struggle to build meaning in a world that constantly threatens to dissolve it. And perhaps this is why we still tell these stories. We still fear collapse, disorder, the flood, the serpent, the monster, the lie, the storm, the revolution, and the breakdown of the self. But we also know that without disruption, nothing new can be born. The world began in chaos. Every life begins in chaos. Every transformation begins when old order breaks. So maybe the question is not whether chaos or order will win. Maybe the question is whether we can learn to stand between them without being consumed by either. Because too much chaos destroys the world, but too much order destroys the soul. Thank you for watching this journey into the ancient war between chaos and order and the myths that shaped humanity's understanding of creation, destruction, and balance. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more stories about ancient gods, cosmic battles, forgotten myths, and the timeless forces that still shape our world today.